Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Crypto Daily, the show where I ramble on about some stuff that you may or may not agree with. And on today's episode, I'd like to share my insights and how I decide when a coin is worth investing in based on my risk assessment, which may or may not be any good. But it's worked for me so far, so I thought I'd share it with you. And I'm going to move on to today's news, which honestly, I've been doing this show for about 3 weeks now. Today's news was the most bullish I've ever seen. By bullish, I mean the chart's going up. Really good news. Worldwide adoption happening for Bitcoin. Let's get into it. SegWit got locked in yesterday. Great news. We have rockets, we have liftoff, and the price lifted off, albeit temporarily. I think we hit 3,500 very briefly. There was some resistance, the price came down, but it's sitting pretty now at around 3,400. Very nice to see. Bitcoin very strong at the moment. Ethereum also coming up very nicely. So from 200, it's been on a rampage back to 300. How long is this line going to go up for? Usually we will see more activity like this where a line will go up and then it will come back down as a correction. But how far would this line go? Will it increase? Will it go beyond the previous all-time high set by Ethereum? I'm not sure. This growth seems more organic this time, however, because that was absolutely insane. So we'll have to wait and see. Litecoin almost at $50. And this may be spurred on by the news of SegWit locking in on Bitcoin. It has a big impact on the future of Litecoin because they can join up. Here's a picture of what I mean. And if you've not seen Dragon Ball Z, then I'm sorry, your childhood missed out. But essentially, these two characters can fuse and fight together, just like Bitcoin and Litecoin can do with atomic swaps. I will do a video soon about atomic swaps if you're not sure what I'm talking about. But essentially, you can pay someone with Bitcoin, goes on the Litecoin network, which is faster. The end receiver still receives Bitcoin, working together. So the rise of Bitcoin has likely caused some stopping of growth in some other coins because people are wanting to move into Bitcoin more. Neo tapped out at around $20 and came back down a bit. But we are one day away from the news conference, which we are expecting some good news about Neo. But like I say, if the news from that conference is not absolutely amazing, I do see Neo's price maybe not continuing as fast a growth as it has been, maybe even coming down slightly. But if the news is great, then we'll see a price increase because this market is a very reactionary one and moves with the news so much, just like SegWit. Monero over $50, EOS exactly the same, Steam exactly the same. Vertasium continues to struggle with talk of scams and hacks and is still floundering. Seems to be generally on a downward trend. Golem at 32 cents. Will we see it go back to 50 with the release of Brass? If it's a successful launch, potentially. Not too much action going on. I like to see this. Number 69, No Limit Coin. Since the video where I made it my number one undervalued coin, I think it went up in value 5 times, which is nice to see. The market at the moment was, at least I was watching it yesterday, there were no sell walls, there were no buy walls. It was totally in flux. It went up to about 37 cents, down to I think 22, and just kept bouncing until the markets kind of knew where to go with it. So we're now at 25. That's just at the moment. I'm still quite bullish on this coin because we don't even have the working platform yet. You can't even use it yet. But we will soon. And why that's a big deal for me, so many of these coins don't have use cases. Now this comes into my mentality. This is how I see coins, what's good investments. So let's have a look. Funfair. I don't know too much about this coin. It was right there. I clicked it. You can't use Funfair at the moment, but it's worth $72 million. The company's raised that much for a coin you can't use. so many of these you can't use. So a coin that you can use should be at least more valuable. I mean, it depends on the circulating supply, of course, but still, a coin you can use versus one you can't. Now, I had a comment on a video saying Factum was a bad investment. It won't be around by 2020. Which is, okay, I'll respond to that. If you bought in at 16 and it's now 20, but I'm not looking that long term. I'm not looking at coins and thinking, ooh, I'd like to invest, but do I see you still sticking around by 2020? No. I mean, if that works for you, that's great, but for me, I'm not looking for you if you're going to be around at 2020, because no one knows. No one knows what's going to happen next year, yet alone in 3-4 years. What I look at when I see a coin, do I think it has potential to attract investors? That's the main thing. And I'm talking about right here, right now. So even if a coin, I think, might not have a future, do I think that other people will? And if the answer is yes, then I will invest. And that's how it's worked for me so far, and it's proven to be successful. I'm not saying that's the way you should do it. That's just how it works for me. That's my mindset. I don't think a lot of these coins will be here in 5-10 years. I don't. I think the decentralized everything is getting a little bit crazy now. We want to decentralize bread. We want to decentralize milk. And yes, it's nice to decentralize some things, but we're getting a little bit crazy now. If crypto is going to be compared to the dot-com bubble of the early 2000s, and the bubble popped, it didn't pop into nothingness. It popped into Google, Amazon, etc. Huge companies, and there will be huge companies that come out of this, and it does have a future. Let me show you a video by what I mean. Matthew McConaughey says it quite well.
Number one rule of Wall Street: nobody, I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or if you're Jimmy Buffett, nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in fucking circles. Least of all stockbrokers, right?
It's good advice. I know it's a movie, but it's good advice. So what I do is I have a look at its immediate presence. What pull has it got to attract investors? Does it look like a good project? If the answer is yes, then I might invest. Let me show you an example. Now this is a ICO that's running at the moment. They want to decentralize energy. Okay, so it's the whole let's decentralize everything. I think the concept's great. And people I've spoken to about this think that is a really powerful idea. I don't know if that's going to work. I trust that these people know what they're doing, that they aren't essentially running a scam. I do believe they will do their best to decentralize energy. It doesn't matter if I think they're going to be around by 2020. What I think about is, would people like this idea enough to invest? And I think the answer is yes. The answer here is over $1 million raised. So that's my mentality when I have a look at all these coins. What potential do they have to attract investors today? But do your due diligence. Maybe this won't work for you. Maybe you can have your own hybrid where you use technical analysis and you use my ideas and you use your own and you create your own that's profitable for you. Wish you best of luck with your investments. I hope everyone does well. On to the news. And today, like I was saying, extremely bullish news from everywhere in the world. It seems all four corners of the earth are embracing cryptocurrencies. Let me show you what I mean. So we have UNICEF, one of the biggest charities in the world, are looking to employ Ethereum-based smart contracts as a tool for improved efficiency, transparency, and accountability. I know it's a charity, but this is one of the biggest companies in the world. Putin's aid seeks... so embarrassing. Putin's aid seeks $100 million to rival China in Bitcoin mining. Essentially, they are looking to take up to 30%. Let me show you what that looks like. 30% of the hash rate. They want to be one of the biggest players in Bitcoin mining. And the way they're going to do it is to raise an ICO. They want to raise $100 million through it. They will offer you a coin which will have value as a percentage of the revenue they generate from mining. If Russia successfully launches this ICO and they do raise the amount of money that they're looking for, I don't see this being the last country to do it. Thailand's one of the biggest banks in Thailand is going to start moving some of its paperwork onto smart contracts. It's going to aim to digitize 35% of the total contracts it generates by the end of next year onto a smart contract. They're adopting blockchain technology. India close to finishing work on cryptocurrency rule proposals. Now, a lot of people don't like legislation when it comes to cryptocurrencies, and I understand that, but I think you need some legislation to give some safety net to companies that are trying to start up their businesses in crypto. They need to know that they're compliant with the law, and if the law backs them, then they can grow, then they can attract more investors, then we can get more mass market adoption. That means more people buying Bitcoin, which means the price of Bitcoin goes up and makes us all more wealthy. Blockchain author Alex Tapscott has the plan to be the first publicly traded company to focus on ICOs. So this opens up a new market to those in business suits, essentially. Right now, most people that are doing well with ICOs are, let's say, the tracksuit community, those wearing tracksuits. The ones wearing suits in Wall Street, they're still buying and selling of stocks and shares. But if you can offer ICOs on a publicly traded company, it opens up the market to them more. And like I said, the more people that have the opportunity to invest in cryptocurrencies, the more and more valuable they become. And lastly, Coinbase is partnering with Fidelity Investments to allow those who use Fidelity's investment systems to see what their values of their cryptocurrencies will be as well. Now, this is slightly different. You aren't able to buy and sell through Fidelity systems, but you will be able to see how your coins are doing. So again, bringing the market to those in the business suits in Wall Street. In my mind, it's happening. We are reaching the mass market. It's still early days, but Bitcoin has never had so much market attention than it does right now. It used to be a joke. People with the news sites used to call it a Ponzi scheme. They're not laughing anymore. They're not calling it a joke anymore. They can't. They just can't. We are seeing more and more people take it seriously. We are headed towards mass market adoption. It's great to see it. It keeps speeding up. More and more news stories like this are happening each and every day. Exciting time to be alive. Exciting time to be in it. I hope you are enjoying the ride. And thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.